Radhe Radhe everyone. Let's make a start. Okay. Welcome everyone to this book reading class on 7 mindsets for success, happiness and fulfillment. We are on 44th session. Let's get started. As usual, we will start with a prayer. Whoever wants to chant the prayer, feel free to raise your hand. If you want to chant the prayer, we will give you opportunity. Okay, Sheetal ji, let's give her chance.
Radhe Radhe Ganesh ji.
Radhe Radhe.
Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Thank you.
Thank you. Radhe Radhe. Great. After praying to our gurus, we are ready to jump into the knowledge. Okay. Session overview. Today, again, we will quickly look at book overview. We will do the recap of what we learned in the last session for the benefit of people who are joining in for the first time. Uh, this is what we do in the overall session. First, we look at book overview, then we look at what we learned in the last session, and we in every session we have some assignment to practice. So we will see how members have been able to practice, and then we will jump into book reading. We will be reading page number 131 to 134. I'll be displaying the page on screen, and if you want to read it from your hard copy, you can do so also. Then we will look at Swamiji's video, which is also very much related to what we will read. After reading the text, hearing Swamiji reinforces the knowledge. Then we will also look at the quiz. uh, Darshan Bhaiya has created interesting quiz, something different today. We will have that quiz, then we will go to discussion. We will try to see if we can have quick discussion around what we learned, and then we will see what we can take away and how we can practice and implement the knowledge. So book overview. On our journey of this book reading, we have completed these first 4 chapters, and we are on this fourth chapter, that is the mindset of purity of intention. And in this chapter, we've been learning a lot about our intentions. We started this chapter by understanding what is success. People have different definition of success. We learned what is the right definition of success. And after understanding the right definition of success, we went a little bit deeper, trying to understand each element of that definition. The definition was to be good, to do good, and then as a result to feel good, to experience good. So we understood what does it mean when we say be good. So to become the best we can be, we understood here what it means. Then we understood what it means to do good. Then finally we understood what it means to experience happiness and satisfaction in life. Now, having understood all this, we wanted to know, when we say be good, what does it mean? We wanted to understand how it is related to intentions. What is a pure intention? We learned that here. And then we also saw that inside in our machinery, there is something which keeps telling us. that if our intention is not pure, so the soul notifies us from inside. And then we understood that the negative emotions, negative feelings that we generate, anger, hatred, greed, all these things are also the result of impure intentions. And the stress that we experience most often, in this modern day, all of us experience stress. Even that stress is said to be the result of impure intention. So we went deeper to understand what this stress means. Why does it arise? What is the root cause of that stress? We understood, and we also understood the remedy for stress. That's where we just moved little bit into spirituality to derive some solutions for this problem. And today we will understand Karma Yoga little bit more. This section was a little bit longer, and I thought we will not rush today. We will complete this section in two parts, half this time, half next time. And it is very, very important section, very relevant to all of us who are into some work, right? We are living in this world, we have duties, responsibilities to fulfill, and karma yoga is something that we need to practice. It is something that is very suitable path for all of us, and we need to understand that there is no other way. We have to practice karma yoga if we want to progress. So we need to understand the science of this karma yoga, how we can practice it. So today we will do that. Let's move on. So, what did we do last time? In the last session, we understood since people do not understand why stress arises, all the so called solutions they propound for stress are merely symptomatic, and they do not address the root of the problem. Throughout the world, people are trying to find solutions to make sure that people can come out of stress, and what they are able to do is they are only able to provide symptomatic solutions because they don't know what is the root cause. Then we understood stress develops when we are attached to a particular outcome and are worried that things may not turn out as we desire. So this stress is the result of number one, attachment to a particular outcome. Number two, unwillingness to accept other possible outcomes. Here we understood that if something needs to happen, your effort is just one factor, and there are many other factors which contribute to the to outcome. So we have to keep ourselves open to accept various outcomes, possible outcomes. Then we learned stress is not caused by hard work at all. This is a wrong understanding that stress happens due to hard work. Stress doesn't happen due to hard work. You can be working from morning till night and still not be tense. Lord Krishna tells Arjun, you have the right to perform your work, but you are not entitled to the fruits. Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala hetur bhurmate sangostva karmani. In this verse, Lord Krishna is teaching all of us the science of work. We have to do our work, but we have to detach our mind from outcomes. The outcome of our efforts is not in our hands. In any case, it depends on several factors such as circumstances, assistance from others, efforts of competitors, luck, or coincidence and will of God. Various factors are involved. It's a big equation. Only few factors are mentioned here, and we have to be open that any outcome is possible. Then we learned that having understood all these, wisdom demands that having put in our best effort, we should be content with whatever results we get. We saw the example of Bal Gangadhar Tilak, one of the freedom fighters who exuded perfect karma yoga by remaining detached when he was taken to jail, when his son was unwell. and while leading national movement without any selfish desires, such as to become minister. Somebody asked him, after we get the freedom, what would you like to become? And he said, I would like to complete my aspiration of writing a book on differential calculus, not at all related to uh, politics at all, though he is fighting for freedom. Perfect karma yogi. He was at peace with himself and his work due to his attitude of merely focusing upon doing his best and leaving the rest to God. In Karma Yoga, our effectiveness in work only increases. There is a misunderstanding. If we are not attached to outcomes, will it affect our effectiveness? Will it affect our productivity? And to answer that, Swamiji mentions in his book that in Karma Yoga, our effectiveness in work only increases because we focus upon our efforts. It automatically helps us get the best possible outcome. Our focus is not divided, and that's why we are able to get best results. And there is this phrase that we keep hearing from people when we are in difficulties. People do with their positive intentions to help us, to calm us. They say keep it cool, keep yourself cool, but we have to understand that what they mean actually is to detach from the outcome. If we keep worrying about the outcomes, the mind becomes divided and it distracts us from the work at hand, and that's why we don't deliver at our best. So we learned all these various all this knowledge from the previous session. Let's get going and understand further what was our assignment in the last session. In the last session, we wanted to check whether we get stressed during the week while getting involved in different types of works in professional life, in personal life, social life. We could check if we are stressed, and if we are stressed, check, are you attached to a particular outcome, or are you unwilling to accept other possible outcomes? And can you keep your cool, which means can you detach from the outcome, or can you accept all possible outcomes, or can you try attitude of doing your best and leaving to God rest? So let's discuss quickly around this. If you were able to practice this, try it out, feel free to raise your hand. You can share your experience with everyone and we will learn together. Anybody who wants to share, feel free to raise your hand. Even if you were not there in the last session, but you still have something relevant to talk about these questions, you might have already practiced something in your life. Feel free to share with us. Anybody who wants to try? Okay, Sheetalji, thanks for raising your hand. Thanks for being the one who breaks the ice and opens up. Go ahead.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. So Ganeshi, last week, I think, yeah, during one of the days I was really stressed, and that's when I was reminded of this activity.
Hmm.
And and then, yeah, so but that at that moment I was really quite worried because I was thinking a lot about the future outcomes and how would this turn out and all that. And then I came back to this, and then what you say, I was reminded of the points that we discussed last week, and then I tried to just calm down. And next day, when I just kept my cool and worked on what I was focused on, the present work, I, without thinking about the outcome, like we read now, I
Hmm.
could do the work effortlessly and get good results also. So it really
Great,
helped
great.
me a lot. Yeah.
Okay, really good to hear that you were able to practice it and you saw it making some difference to you.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
great.
Okay, Radha, Radha.
Anybody, Radhe Radhe. Anybody else who wants to share how you were able to try it in your life and how it made a difference? No one? I think I can share my experience. I did not experience stress as such, but definitely I was able to see that I was attached to a particular outcome little bit. I am part of Toastmasters club in my company, and as part of that, we had contest, speech contest, public speech contest, and I've been able to move forward few levels, and we had yesterday we had division level contest, and probably I was preparing for it, and uh, I was focused completely, I was giving my mind completely to it, tried to ensure that I take care of different aspects because it was little bit a higher level where many different competitors from different clubs, experienced people will be speaking. So I prepared for it, but while preparing, I understood probably I am also getting attached to the outcome. Instead of that, I should simply keep doing my best. And I tried to list down what all best things that I can do, what is best available in my hand. And I listed down various things actually, and I enhanced my speech using all those points which came up in my mind. Otherwise, probably I wouldn't have been able to generate those ideas. Detaching myself from the outcome helped me to generate some very good ideas, creative ideas, and that enhanced the speech. And actually, the experience turned out to be really, really different, and it was good. And I was able to actually accept that surprising outcome also. So I did not win the contest, but still there was a surprising outcome that happened, which actually gave a good feeling that yeah, implementing this knowledge, it's not just about winning, but there is much more than just a win which we are able to derive when we are trying out all these things. So that was a very good experience that I had. Anybody else before we jump into book reading? If not, then let's move on. Okay. As I said, we will be reading from page number 131. As usual, anybody who wants to read these paragraphs, you can raise your hand. Riya ji has already raised her hand. Let's give her chance.
Radhe Radhe Ganeshi and
Radhe
everyone.
Radhe.
Karma Yoga, the art of working in divine consciousness. Karma Yoga literally means karma plus yoga. To understand it, we first need to appreciate the true meaning of yoga. Nowadays, yoga has become a buzzword in the Western world. Yoga Yoga studios have mushroomed in every major city of the developed world. Recent studies reveal that in the US, 32 million people practice yoga, which is about 1 out of 10. And an equal number say that they are likely to begin in the near future. It is very heartening to see India's ancient science become so popular. However, most yoga practitioners have adopted it for good health as a beauty aid or for weight loss. That is all very well, but they are unaware of the spiritual depth of the science of yoga. The postures of yoga are called asanas. Asanas are only the third limb of the eightfold system called
Mm,
Ashtanga Yoga, which has which has 7 more limbs. The entire sequence is Yama Niyamasana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhayo, Thavangani. Patanjali Yoga Darshan 2.29.
Very good. Okay, go ahead.
The 8 limbs of yoga are yam, abstinence, niyam, codes of conduct, asan, postures, pranayam, breath control, pratyahar, turning inward, dharana, concentration, dhyan, meditation, and samadhi, complete absorption in God. The limbs of the system help us prepare for yoga. The word yoga means union. For example, in Ayurveda, when two medicines are combined, it is called yoga. In the spiritual context, yoga refers to the linking of the individual soul with the supreme soul. Thus, the ultimate goal of the yogic system is to connect with God. Sanyogo yoga ityukto jivatma paramatmanahu. Garuda Puran. The union of the individual consciousness with the supreme consciousness is yoga. This linking takes place when the mind is absorbed in loving remembrance of God. Thank you.
Great.
Radhe
Thank
Radhe.
you,
Very
Radha
deep.
Vidya ji. Yeah. Okay, so here we are starting to understand what is Karma Yoga. And very important to note what this yoga means, because this has definitely become a buzzword. Everywhere we hear about it. And I think in the previous, one of the previous sections, we also learned uh, with an intention to identify a way to deal with stress, a solution to the problems of stress. People have come up with different solutions. And one of those solutions people keep propounding is join a yoga class. It will reduce your stress. But as Swamiji mentioned in the previous section, that these are all symptomatic solutions that people are propounding, because the various yoga classes, if you will go, you will see that what they are practicing is only one aspect, that is physical exercises. Totally, it is different from all the other exercises that we practice, like maybe walking, maybe weight training, maybe aerobics. All those are different types of exercises, and they look at yoga also as one more different type of physical exercise. With that understanding, yoga has been adopted. It is very good to see that people are actually utilizing yoga as one of the ways to enhance their health. We now have International Yoga Day also getting celebrated everywhere, right? So that is really heartening to see our ancient science being adopted in various cities. But we need to be aware that that's not yoga. What we are talking, the yoga actually turned out to be yoga. Actually, it's yoga is not a word. The actual word is yog, and this yog word means union. Union of what? Union of individual consciousness with supreme consciousness. So here Swamiji has already explained what yog means. And whatever is being practiced in so-called yoga studios, the physical postures, is only one aspect of yoga. If you look at this Ashtanga yoga system, we have 8 limbs, starting from yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, pratyahar, dharana, dhyana, then samadhi. So this is a eightfold system, and asan is the third limb, right? So yoga actually, as I said, means union, and there are y- different types of yoga that we learn about. I mean, in Bhagavad Gita also, Lord Krishna has mentioned. One of them is Karma Yoga, and then we have something called Gyan Yoga. It can also be said to be Buddhi Yoga, and then we have Bhakti Yoga. Then I mean, people mention Astanga Yoga also as one of the different types of yoga, but actually it is not so different, though it involves some other aspects also, the physical and mental exercises, specific exercises like asanas or pranayama or pratyahar dharana. These are all different types of exercises. It is a structured system that has been created to practice. Whereas if you see karma yoga, we call it, what it involves use of karmendriya, the five senses of action that we have. But along with that, you are supposed to do bhakti, karma plus yoga, then jnana yoga, okay, which is also called buddhi yoga. Involves use of your intellect when you are in any kind of situation where intellect gets deluded because we lose our control. At that time, you are supposed to still hold on and illumine your intellect with the right knowledge, and at the same time keep the mind with God. It also needs bhakti. Then bhakti yoga automatically involves bhakti, where you are more using your heart, your soul part of it. And then Ashtanga Yoga, as I was telling, it is a structured method which involves physical, mental practices, some exercises, structured, systematic way of practicing, and then also involving bhakti. Because if you look at this second limb, that is niyamas, where we are talking about personal conduct, the last element of it is Ishvara Pranidhana. So it talks about surrendering to God. This part is where you are doing a lot of bhakti. So, yoga, we need to understand that it's not that yoga, only physical exercises. It is more deeper, and there is a spiritual context to it. We need to understand that. And here Garuda Puran says, Sanyogo yoga ityukto jivatmana paramatmano, is a union of individual consciousness with supreme consciousness. Let's move on. And just wanted to mention one more point here. We hear about these different paths about spiritual paths, right? Karma, Gyan, Bhakti. Those paths are different, okay? I mean, the paths are actually Karma Kand path, Gyan Marg, Bhakti Marg. These are three different margs. What we are talking about, Karma Yoga, is still a part of Bhakti Yoga only. It is not that Karma Kand path. Karma Kand path is something that involves lot of ritualistic practices. 80,000 verses of yoga, Vedas, 80,000 or 80% of Vedas involves ritualistic practices. So following all those ritualistic practices is karma kand, not karma yoga. Karma yoga is still doing worldly actions, duties along with bhakti. And Gyan Marg involves intellectual analysis. That is different again. This Gyan Yoga here is still using intellect along with bhakti. That is Gyan Yoga. And Bhakti Yoga obviously is. So all this is actually part of Bhakti Yoga only. Let's move on. Who wants to read next? Okay, Sheetalji, go ahead.
When we are able to keep the mind in divine consciousness and continue doing our worldly duties alongside, that is Karma Yoga. There have been many Karma Yogis in Indian history. Dhruv, Prahlad, Ambarish, Prithu, Yudhishthir, etc. were all great emperors. As sovereigns, they were constantly surrounded by people and had to fulfill many complex tasks for the administration of their kingdom. Yet, internally, their consciousness was always absorbed in the Lord. Saint Kabir, who was himself a Karm Yogi in household life, said, Jahan jahan chalu karu parikrama, jo jo karu so puja, jab so karu dandavat, janu deva na duja. Whenever I walk, I think I'm doing parikrama, circumambulation of the Lord. Whatever work I do, I offer it to Him. When I sleep, I think I'm paying prostrate obeisance. In this way, I worship my Lord with my every action, and I do not know anyone apart from Him. Most people have separated puja from their daily lives. They engage in devotion for a little while in their puja room. But when they emerge from it, they forget about God. They go about their daily course with an impure mind, immersed in desire, attachment, greed, pride, and anxiety. Thank you, Radhe
Right.
Radhe.
Thank you, Sheetalji. So, how to keep mind in divine consciousness, right? So here we are learning that in Karma Yoga, we have to continue doing our duties, but at the same time, we have to keep our mind in God. And when we hear that, first thing that comes to our mind is it really possible? How is it possible? Isn't it? But it is completely possible. It is absolutely possible because many people in history have already done it. People like Dhruv, Prahlad, Ambrish, Prithu, Yudhishthir, Bal Gangadhar, Tilak. We saw this example. Mahatma Gandhi. Likewise, many people have been able to successfully practice this Karma Yoga, the science of work, and it is possible for us also. The only thing that we lack is we don't do sufficient practice. Everything is possible. Swamiji keeps telling us this, telling us that this mind is highly trainable. It is really possible to teach it to do many things. It just needs consistent practice. In Yoga Sutras, Patanjali Yoga Sutras, in one sutra, he also mentions how your practice needs to be. He says, Sa tu dirgha kale nairyantarye satkar sevito druda bhumihi, which means Sa tu dirgha kale means you need to practice it for a long period of time. Okay, there is no clear mention about long period of time. How long? Some people say you practice for 1 month, some people say you practice for 2 months. Whatever habit you want to develop, right, that applies. So here also you need to practice. Satu dirgha kale nairyantaraye means without any interruptions. Satkar sevito, with pure intentions. Druda bhumi, firm resolve. With all these things, when you will practice, then you will see the fruits bearing. But we don't do that actually. We don't put so much of effort. After practicing maybe for few hours or few days, we again fall back. We again fall into the same trap and we give up. And that this is what has been happening with us, and that's why we are not able to really see this happening to us. Remembering God at the same time, we are doing our worldly duties. These saints have very nicely written right here. Kabir, Saint Kabir has written, Jahan jahan chalu karu parikrama, jo jo karu so puja, jab so karu dandavat, janu dev na duja. So the same thing in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna mentions in chapter 9. I'm just reading it. Yat karoshi, yad ashnasi, yad juhosi, dadasi yat tapashyasi kaunteya, tat kurushva madarpanam. He says, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer as oblation to the sacred fire, whatever you bestow as a gift, and whatever austerities you perform, O son of Kunti, do them as an offering unto me. This is what is expected. We have to do everything. This is one verse. There is another verse also where he clearly mentions, even blinking your eye, you remember me. Even you breathe, you remember me. and it is possible. You have to just practice it. And here we are talking about developing divine consciousness, right? So what does it mean? It means feeling God's presence. We feel somebody's, if in a room you are there and somebody else is there, we can feel their presence, right? In the same manner, in our consciousness, we need to develop that feeling that God is around me. Consciousness completely absorbed in God, mind generating thoughts of God in different manner. Kripaluji has written very nicely, Man hari mein, tan jagat mein. Keep your mind in God and body in world. कर्म योग ते ही जान, तन हरि में मन जगत में यह महान अज्ञान. The ignorance is what we are doing actually currently is when we are doing some rituals, we are doing rituals with our hands, right? But our mind is somewhere else. This is what is happening, and this is ignorance. Is karma yoga possible? As I said, all these people have practiced, and what mistake we are doing, we have not understood clearly. See, these rituals are, developed by people who have succeeded, and they want us to practice that process using which they have succeeded so that we can also be successful. But we are not following exactly in the manner it is taught, because over a period of time people misunderstood it, people twisted it, people changed it, and the whole purpose is lost. So rituals are misunderstood, the rituals are incorrectly practiced. We practice puja at home for a very short period of time, and after going out, we again have all the impure intentions within us, and those impure intentions lead to bad consciousness, material consciousness, right? So the practice purification will happen only if we practice for a long period of time without any interruptions. Okay, next, who wants to go? Please raise your hand, whoever wants to read. Nalini ji, let's give her chance.
Thank you, Radhe Radhe. The practice
Radhe
of
Radhe.
Karam Yoga changes that. We keep our mind attached to God no matter where we go and what we do. Then every week we perform becomes an offering to Him. Thus, in Karma Yoga, we do not divide our activities thinking this work is for me and this is for my Lord. Instead, since the mind is always absorbed in God, every action becomes an offering at the altar of the Supreme. When every work of ours becomes worship of the Lord, then automatically our intention rises above tamasic, rajasic, and sattvic states and becomes gunadit, divinely pure. Let us take a look at how we can transform all our material duties into service for the Lord and thereby purify our intention. Consider, for example, that we have to earn money to maintain ourselves. The activity of earning money is considered material work. But the same can be spiritualized by thinking in this manner. My family members are all children of God, and He has entrusted them to my care. Let me earn well so that I can take care of them. And whatever I can save, I will serve God and Guru with it. In this way, earning money through one's profession becomes a divine service. Thank you, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, Nalini ji. So here Swamiji is telling we have to spiritualize. We have to spiritualize every action of ours. The problem is we have divided our activities. We think whatever we do in the temple or in front of Guru or at home, maybe while doing puja, that is only the spiritual activity. We may not be able to agree that or appreciate that, but at conscious level, that's what is the fact. We just feel that the spiritual activity is this, but when we get into the world, everything is material. So you are juggling between material activities, spiritual activities, separate. So what is happening? You practice little bit of spiritual activity, um, which is just 1 hour or 1.5 hour, and you go back to work, okay, and do all sorts of material activities for 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours, while forgetting, while doing all those activities, forgetting spirituality, forgetting God. Now you have spent only 1.5 hour or 2 hours doing spirituality, but you spent 9 hours. So which one will leave more impressions in your mind? Obviously, the material things that you have done will leave greater impressions in your mind, right? So, sorry, we need to work on that. Now, we need to understand that there is a strong correlation between our intentions and the consciousness that we develop when we feel, okay, when we want to feel divine consciousness, we need to set the right intentions for that. Setting intentions is something that we need to understand before doing any activity. It's a good idea to pause for a minute and think, why am I doing this activity? See, what you are doing is an activity, but why you are doing is the it will tell you what is the intention behind that activity. And as soon as that intention is clear, it will affect your consciousness. It will bring up that required consciousness. If your intention is to make more money, right, so that kind of consciousness will develop, material consciousness. So here what Swamiji tells us is, as soon as you start practicing karma yoga, it sets your intentions right. It brings in God into the picture, and that turns your intention completely into divine in consciousness. That turns your consciousness into divine consciousness. The feeling that you have when you are doing puja, or the feeling that you have when you are in temple, that kind of feeling needs to happen to you when you are doing any work. That is what is, karma yoga. When that happens with practice, I mean, we hear that famous verse, right, in from Bhagavad Gita, abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. Arjun asks Lord Krishna, you are asking me to do a lot of things, but I think it is really impossible for me. He says, it doesn't look possible at all. And to that Sri Krishna responds, it is definitely possible. Only thing it requires is practice and detachment, right? So if we can do that, then automatically things will happen to us, and our intention, which is material, which is which is entangled, or which is changing within those three gunas, right, sattva, rajas, tamas, will go beyond those material gunas and become gunatit, and then we will start experiencing that divine consciousness. And automatically, as soon as you have that divine consciousness, purification, fast purification will happen. And that yoga we are talking about, connect with God, will happen. We have to practice this more and more while doing work. Take a pause, maybe, for once in 1 hour. Maybe you use the gadgets that you have. And now, we have so many gadgets, so many apps. To set a reminder, use those materials to set that reminder. And at that moment, use different there are different ways to do it. Use something as a reminder to start with. As soon as that goes, you have to remember God once. With practice, reduce that period also. Bring it down to half an hour. Likewise, generate your own different creative ideas. Now, let's say we pick up a bottle to drink water. While picking up a bottle, also bring the thought that, oh, I need to also remember God. Maybe you just start thinking like that, and slowly, I mean, it will happen. Maharaj ji tells, while breathing in, breathe Ra. while breathing out, breathe He or Radhe Krishna. If we can practice these things, automatically Karma Yoga will happen to us. Okay, let's move on quickly. Then we will have to watch the video also. Quick announcements. Swamiji's US tour is going on, and many programs have been planned in different cities. I've just put a snapshot. You can visit the website jkyog.org/upcoming events, and you will find a exhaustive list there. Register for those events wherever applicable. There are retreats also planned, so don't miss the opportunity. Then you have JK Yog Satsang, and fill your attendance also. You already Darshan Bhaiya will post the message in the chat box, and you will be able to fill your attendance and feedback. And just quick announcement again about various things, various offerings that we have in JK Yog. You can visit this website or the other website I mentioned, and then YouTube channel and SMX, wonderful platform to directly talk to Swamiji, is also available. 100 plus free sessions are going on like this. And then there are several self-improvement books, wonderful books, gems of wisdom. You can utilize them to change your life. Let's quickly move on. Let me change the screen. I'll move to the video screen.
Don't give up the work that you are doing. Now, give up attachment. How do you give up attachment? This mind is such that the more you say, okay, give up attachment, the more it will get attached. Swamiji said, give up attachment. Whom should I give up attachment to? Where is my mind attached? It is attached to the jalebi. So stop thinking of what? Stop thinking of jalebi. Every time you think of giving up attachment, do what? The jalebi will come in your mind, and it will only increase your attachment, not decrease it. So how do you give up attachment? You see, the Bhagavad Gita is so beautiful in its philosophy. It goes far beyond vipassana. Somebody asks, what is the difference between vipassana and the Bhagavad Gita? The vipassana is only telling you to give up, renounce. The Bhagavad Gita is going beyond. It's saying, don't just give up, attach yourself to God. So you detach from here and attach out here. One is coming from the minus y-axis to the x-axis, and one is going on the plus y-axis. It's not just a question of giving up, it's a question of developing loving attachment to God, and that is Karma Yoga. So what does the Karma Yogi do? The Karma Yogi has detached the mind from here and attached the mind to God. And when the mind is attached to God, then your intention will become pure. How? Whatever you do, don't do it for yourself. Do it for the pleasure of God. He is the enjoyer. So what does the Karma Yogi do? He does all his or her works for the pleasure of God. Yat karoshi yad ashtasi yad juhosi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tad kurushva madarpanam. Arjun, whatever you do, whatever you drink, whatever you eat, whatever austerities you perform, whatever you give away in charity, tat kurushva madarpanam, do it all as an offering unto me. So when you become attached to God, it changes your perspective, the way you look at things. In material consciousness, I am the enjoyer. This whole world is for my happiness. This is my family, my property, my bank balance, my prestige, my status, my ego. That is material consciousness. And the Karma Yogi changes that around. The Karma Yogi says, this is God's world, I am His servant, everything belongs to Him. Whatever abilities and powers He gives to me, I will use this all in His service. So the spirit of service comes in. That spirit of service is natural part of Karma Yoga. What have we done in the process? In material consciousness, we were attached to the results because we were thinking they are for my enjoyment. And that attachment created a storm in the inner world called stress. That storm was God's way of telling you, look, the balance has gone off. Gadbad hai. You need to correct something here. Now some people listen, some people don't listen. Sometimes you need the stress to increase too much and then you will listen. Like if the pot of misery increases tremendously, then people say, okay, now let's get detached. So that stress is the parameter that God has given to indicate, look, this is not the way to work. And remember, the outcome of your work is not in your hands in any case. You can put in your best efforts in your work, but you may still not be promoted, the other guy may get promoted. The outcome is not in your hands. Why? Because there's a boss out there. He may be moody, he may be partial. Your colleague may be buttering him up, whatever. So, the outcome of our work depends on many factors. The effort we have put in. The effort we put in past lives, our past karmas, our sanskars. Some people you see in educational institutes, they put in little efforts and they become toppers. Others burn the midnight oil and then still they are second divisioners. So there is no one-to-one correlation. Your past karmas, the karmas of others, the collective karma of the place. All of a sudden there was an earthquake somewhere. The collective karma of the place. Sometimes the will of God, God wants something to happen or not to happen. Sometimes sheer luck. You were driving this car and this 15-year-old teenager jumped the light and came and hit you. Sheer luck. You were in the wrong place at the wrong time. What to do? Right? So, firstly, the results can never be controlled. And secondly, the results are not for you. Offer the results to God. The moment you do that, you become freed of attachment and your whole consciousness changes. So when you get freed of attachment, now the stress disappears. So the purity of intention can easily be brought about by this technique of Karma Yoga.
Okay, let me change the screen. Right. So the message is clear from Swamiji, how we can eliminate stress by practicing Karma Yoga, how we can set our intentions right. Okay, so let's move ahead. I'll stop sharing. I think it's time for us to take the quiz. Are you ready, Darshan Bhaiya?
Despite the fact that yoga is a buzzword in the Western world. What is the prominent aspect of yoga that is still unexplored by majority of the yoga enthusiasts? Asanas represent only blank limb of the blank eightfold system.
Difficult. Maybe fill in the blanks. I think we have to do it verbally through slide.
Yeah, but even I think so. I think only Sheetalji is able to answer it.
Mm.
Select correct order of the limbs of Ashtanga Yoga system. Garud Puran explains yoga as union of blank consciousness with blank consciousness. True or false? Most people engage in puja, that is any form of austerity, yet proceed in life with impure mind. Give 3 examples of karma yogis who were also sovereign emperors in the Vedic history. One answer is in the image also.
Mm. Looks like difficult for people. Can we move to the next question?
Yeah, there is timer set, or should I end the timer?
There is this button for next. It is visible.
I
Since
know.
other, yeah,
If it's okay, okay then.
yeah,
Okay. We had only 2 participants
yeah,
answering this
yeah.
question.
I think they were not able to answer.
True or false? Practice of Karma Yoga enable us to become Gunatit. The beauty of Karma Yoga enable us to transform a gross material work into blank. Now this is an open-ended question, so you can write anything you want with word limit of 1000 words. Bhaiya, do you think it would be okay if next time we make PPT instead of
Yes, I think that is a better way for fill in the blanks. We can do it quickly also.
okay.
Sometimes we will do the online multiple choice questions. Sometimes we'll do PPT blanks, and something else also we will bring in for more discussion with the participants. Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Nalijini has
consistent winner.
secured. Yes, Nalini is really doing well. Even last time she secured third position.
Mm.
Radhaji, great work. Sheetalji. Can we take a quick review whether blanks were difficult
Yes.
or some technology based thing was
Yeah,
creating
yeah,
an
sure.
issue?
I mean, people can tell
Let us
how
know
we
that.
can. If anybody has any suggestion, feel free to tell us.
Sheetalji, would you like to add up something?
No, actually, fill in the blanks was quite tricky. Yeah, and I think 8 limbs of the yoga, that was also, it was not like, yeah, the order was a bit difficult. I think,
Mm.
and I don't know, I'm not sure, but divine consciousness in the first fill in the blanks
Yeah,
was,
individual consciousness with supreme consciousness.
that is last one, Darshanji, but I'm telling the first question. Divine
Okay.
consciousness was the answer, but I don't know if there was a block for one more S. I'm not sure. I could only enter one S. I think maybe I will look at the answers and then.
Okay.
uh,
You are talking about which question?
The very first question was fill in the blanks, right?
Yeah,
Art.
arc of working in divine consciousness.
Oh, yeah. So that I was doubtful if there's one more S. That's.
Okay.
And I think a mix of both fill in the blanks and this is making a bit confusing. Maybe what about match the following, that kind of thing?
Yes,
Yeah,
why
yeah.
not? I think that
Yeah,
is also a good idea. I mean,
okay.
within very short period of time, we have to do something which will help us to, quickly do this activity, test kind of activity for this.
Blanks and MCQ and open-end question. These are the 3 free features available on Quizy. So we have used that. Next time we will also think to include and match the following. We
Right.
also have Riyaji to make some suggestions.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Riyaji.
Radhe Radhe Ganeshji. Today
Radhe Radhe.
from the quiz, I realized that I should make a note. Seriously, like how Sheetal ji does every time. I literally felt that I should do that from now on, or else this. Uh, uh, I was a Radha. But literally, I didn't expect I get second. I truly did nothing today. I felt it was tough, and the fill in the blanks was yeah, we need to make a note. Even if I had made a note, I don't think and Sheetalji's question, same doubt even I had. I was
Right.
correct with the spelling, and again I was checking how come one more box is missing. Maybe I need to relook
Yeah,
that.
actually, I had entered 2S, so it
Ah,
might be displaying one more block. But
okay.
nevertheless, you know the right answer, so doesn't matter.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Thanks, everyone.
we also
That
have
was a good
Nalini.
learning. Thank you.
Okay,
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Nalini ji.
Um, I thought I did appallingly. Half the time I didn't understand the question. So this is just a suggestion for me as I get old. I think, I don't know if it's old age or what, but I'm very slow. So I'm just thinking, perhaps when we learn what we do, we go away and revise our notes, try and understand it. And when we start the next session, somehow try to do the quiz based on what we did the previous week.
Oh,
That gives me more time to really understand what we did. But I don't know if that's
yeah.
possible.
Yeah, we can think about it. We can see maybe, the when we are reading the summary
Yes.
next time in the recap, probably we can do a short quiz instead of doing it here. We can just discuss on things here and maybe do quiz there, something like that. We will think about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. It
Yeah.
was fun.
Yeah. Thank
Okay.
you.
Do we have any
Okay.
more suggestions today? Anyone?
Looks like there are no. Sheetalji, your hand is raised.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Darshanji, to what Riyaji was saying, actually, I think today's concept was also a bit tough. But it's a bit, yeah, complex content. Maybe that can also be a factor why it was a bit difficult.
Possible. Yeah. 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 We need to contemplate more. Okay. I think we have already overrun. Now, I mean, since we do not have next session right away, we can utilize time to complete just two more slides we have. Quickly, let's read out the summary from today's book reading. Most yoga practitioners have adopted yoga for good health as a beauty aid or for weight loss, but they are unaware of the spiritual depth of the science of yoga. Riyaji, we will complete the summary reading and we will unmute you. Asanas are only the third limb of the eightfold system called Ashtanga Yoga, which has seven more limbs. Yoga means union of the individual soul with the supreme soul. Thus, the ultimate goal of yogic system is to connect with God. This linking takes place when the mind is absorbed in loving remembrance of God. When we are able to keep the mind in divine consciousness and continue doing our worldly duties alongside, this is karma yoga. Most people go about their daily chores without an with an impure mind immersed in desire, attachment, greed, pride, and anxiety. In karma yoga, we do not divide our activities for self and Lord. Every work we perform becomes an offering to Him. With karma yoga, our intention rises above tamasic, rajasic, and sattvic states and becomes gunatit, divinely pure. The act of earning money can be spiritualized by thinking in this manner. My family members are all children of God, and He has entrusted them to my care. Let me earn well so that I can take care of them, and whatever I can save, I'll serve God and Guru with that. So this is what we have learned. These are key points that picked up from the paragraphs we read today. Quickly, what can we practice based on the session today? We can generate ideas on how we can connect our work to God. Whatever we do, how we can bring thought of God, how we can make it a service to God. Let's generate some ideas and try it for yourself at your work or maybe in your personal life, professional life, wherever possible. Try it and bring your experiences in next class. We will discuss together for some time and we will some of you might have some very interesting ways of practicing it, so it will be great to learn from each other. With that, we are done with the session. I hope you all had good time, learned something new. We will conclude our session here. Thank you very much for participating. Have a good day. Radhe Radhe. Bye bye.